right now on 5 on Your Side at 10.
We start tonight with breaking news out of South St. Louis. Good evening, I'm Mike Bush. Right now, police investigating a triple shooting that killed at least one person. It happened about an hour ago at a restaurant on Gravois near Potomac. Our Laura Barcheski is live at the scene. Laura, what do we know?
Mike, this is still a very active crime scene, and just 15 minutes ago, we learned that 3 people were shot here in the 3500 block of Gravois. That's across from the Schnucks. This happened near Grand and Gravois. A St. Louis police real-time alert says a woman has died and another person is in critical condition. The third person shot is not critical. A woman I spoke to off camera saw 2 of the people get shot and heard a lot of gunshots. She says some of the shooting happened outside this restaurant, Sam's Southern Eatery, near a silver Audi hatchback. Dozens of evidence markers were littered all over the parking lot. Appears to be some shell casings as well. And on our way to the scene here, we saw an ambulance rush by. It's unclear right now why this happened, but we haven't been able to speak with police in person yet. We will continue to keep you updated here online and on our app. Reporting live in St. Louis, Laura Barcheski, 5 on Your Side.
Also tonight, we have a weather impact alert. Just hours from now, we'll be under an excessive heat warning. Meteorologist Gary Frank has more on what to expect. Gary.
As we continue to look at some of the rain that brought us our temperatures down just a little bit, we also got some locally heavy rain where we had some of that earlier on today. As we continue to look at what's going on outside right now, going to bed, you are quiet. Things are much quieter as those storms move into the Metro East and eventually out of our area. But it is quiet for now. We're looking at this storm. It's in central Iowa. It doesn't look like much. In fact, it doesn't even look like it's moving our way. But part of it will start to expand and work its way off to the southeast. And I think the trail edge of it may have a few more storms that develop and kind of hang with us as it starts to work its way off to the southeast. That may impact you for early morning tomorrow, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. But then as that gets out of the way, by 1 o'clock, an excessive heat warning in place for the St. Louis metro area, a heat advisory for the rest of us. And this continues all the way through Thursday. Our temperatures right now are as good as they're going to be at 10 o'clock for a while. Temperatures have fallen to 78 degrees. We may not see a couple of mornings fall like this over the next several days. So that's what we're going to look at tonight. It's not going to drop all that much more, but there are going to be some mornings that struggle to get to 80. Why that's important for us, we'll track chances for rain and what it feels like on top of the already high air temperatures.
All right, Gary. Well, today was declared a National Day of Mourning for Sonia Massey, the woman killed by an Illinois sheriff's deputy in her Springfield home. Vigils and rallies were held throughout the country calling for justice. A gathering was also held in the Metro East, and our Annie Krall heard from those who marched during the 1960s civil rights movement. Annie.
Mike, these rallies come days after police released body camera footage of the incident. One rally this afternoon in East St. Louis honoring Sonia Massey also held space for the 1917 race riots and the 100th anniversary of the NAACP East St. Louis branch. For the East St. Louis Historical Society,
if you don't remember the past, you will relive it. And it looks like we're reliving the past all over again.
Sunday's reenactment of the 1917 Silent March down New York City's Fifth Avenue also honored Sonia Massey's life. The march 107 years ago was in response to the East St. Louis race riot massacre just weeks before. J.P. Willis, the Historical Society's executive director, said it was caused in part by blacks moving from Mississippi to find work, resulting in anger and horrific violence.
It became not so much they're taking our jobs, but we're not going to take their lives. And so when you look at what happened with Sonia Massey, you just have to wonder what would make them think that a boiling pot of water would be something that would endanger the life of a police officer who's standing there with a gun.
I can't make any sense of it. I really can't. I feel horrible for the family, but she's not the first. And unfortunately, I believe she's not the last, but we will continue to speak and have our voices be heard.
Silently walking down State Street in black and white, just like in 1917, including 88-year-old East St. Louis native Reginald Petty, who marched with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. twice. Reflecting on when things were a lot worse in East St. Louis, he said,
"When I couldn't be born at a hospital in East St. Louis, I had to be born in St. Louis because the 2 hospitals in East St. Louis would not allow blacks in it."
Petty emphasized these demonstrations are crucial in response to former Deputy Sean Grayson's shooting Massey. including in Chicago Saturday at the Federal Plaza City Market.
So we continue to fight for justice and for equal rights and for us not to be judged based upon the color of our skin.
Another rally in Massey's honor is expected tomorrow night at 6:30 downtown in Keener Plaza. Former Sangamon County Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson is due back in court on August 26th. Mike?
Annie, thanks. Tonight, a Pike County man is behind bars, charged in the murders of his son and another woman. It happened early Saturday morning in Eola, Missouri. Witnesses say 53-year-old Matthew Todd got into an argument with his son before grabbing a rifle and shooting. Todd is being held on a $500,000 bond. Tonight, Mayor Tashara Jones says she's looking for ways to help the St. Louis Public Schools just days after Superintendent Keisha Scarlett was put on temporary leave. Sources there say there are concerns over how the district is spending its money. Mayor Jones sent a letter to School Board President Antoinette Cousins saying the mayor's office will hold meetings to discuss transportation concerns and school leadership. In the letter, the mayor said, quote, "The city of St. Louis cannot succeed without a strong public school system." We're now 100 days away from the November presidential election, and just 1 week after jumping into the race, Vice President Kamala Harris is gaining traction. The Harris campaign says it's raised more than $200 million in the past 7 days, and polls are tightening, with Harris's favorability up 8% compared to former President Trump, who is down 4%, both sides slinging new attacks.
We have a brand new victim. And honestly, she's a radical left lunatic.
Some of what he and his running mate are saying, well, it's just plain weird.
Harris could name her running mate this week. Among the VP hopefuls, Arizona Senator Mark Kelly, Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper, and Governor J.B. Pritzker of Illinois. Former President Donald Trump is weighing in on Missouri's race for governor. Trump endorsed all 3 Republican frontrunners on Truth Social this weekend. Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, Senator Bill Eigel, and Lieutenant Governor Mike Keogh are running for the nomination. All 3 thanked the former president for his endorsement on X.
From war-torn Ukraine to a shattered American dream.
They hoping one day that there will be a full recovery.
The little girl fighting to reclaim her life after a series of tragedies. Team USA's secret weapon.
We're not fragile. We're out there competing.
The rugby players from the bi-state competing at this year's Paralympics, and how one of them is breaking barriers.
As the extreme heat starts to settle in Monday, it's going to feel like it's at least 100 degrees. How hot the air temperature is and why these numbers are just the start of what we can expect.
It's time for On the Move. I'm Paul Cook, your traffic guy from Today in St. Louis, and we're talking about enjoying the great outdoors. There's loads of research proving spending time outside is good for your body and your mental health, but sometimes it's difficult deciding how to start. So I give you greenways.
A greenway is a public spaces connecting people and places. So it's just a space where people can walk, ride a bike, run, use a wheelchair to get to where they want to go.
Voters approved development of the Great River Greenways 20 years ago. It's been a way for people to spend time together outside ever since.
Right now, we're in the heat of summer, so a lot of times people are asking for what are some greenways that are a little on the cooler side or have a little more shade and trees. And so I always recommend people head out to the Merrimack Greenway out in Wildwood.
And this might be the coolest thing of all.
There's 135 miles of paved greenways across the region. And so we just want to make sure people know that this is part of this larger network with an ultimate goal to connect for 600 miles.
I have a list and a link to all of the trails at ksdk.com. So don't forget to stay hydrated and hit the greenway. You won't regret it. Paul Cook, 5 on your side.
Making a Difference is sponsored by Midwest Bank Center.
A family from Ukraine escaped the war looking for a new life in America, only to have it shattered by a drunk driver. But in tonight's Making a Difference report, how compassion and determination are rewriting their story right here in St. Louis.
The most beautiful girl in the world.
At Rankin Jordan Pediatric Bridge Hospital, broken dreams are often mended and shattered hopes pieced back together.
1, 2, 3.
For 7-year-old Yeva Kapustarinska, this place has become familiar territory over the past 5 months as she wages a daily battle to reclaim her life, one therapy session at a time.
She has come a long way. We were able to get rid of her breathing tube. She's breathing on her own.
There you go.
But Yeva's journey begins far from these hospital walls. It started in Odessa, Ukraine, where war forced her family to leave everything behind.
When war started, that we're hoping that things may resolve sooner, but it has not.
The Kapustarinskas contacted an organization called Welcome U.S., which provides a lifeline for those seeking safety in the United States. And they matched them with Joe Wigman of Oxford, Kansas, as their American host. He had recently lost both his wife and mother to cancer.
It was exactly what I needed. You know, this whole thing was a bit self-serving, you know. I needed to help myself. And by helping them, they're helping me.
They arrived in America last September full of hope. But just 2 months later, on December 2nd, their American dream turned into a nightmare when their car was hit head-on by a drunk driver.
The whole family was injured, and Ina was in her own room in emergency department, so she didn't know what happened to the rest of her family.
Little Yeva bore the brunt of the impact. She suffered both a traumatic brain injury and severe spinal cord damage.
She was not able to sit up or stand. She wasn't able to talk or feed herself. She was totally dependent for care and really precarious, both physically and psychologically.
After a month in intensive care at a Kansas hospital, they came to Rankin Jordan, who offered world-class care at no cost to the family. And it was an unexpected connection that would help bridge the family's past with their uncertain future.
When I heard that there is a family from Ukraine that just came to this country to start new life, got in horrible accident, that was very clear to me that Rankin and myself, we need to get involved to help this family the best we could.
Dr. Eugene Evra, raised by Ukrainian parents, became not just Yeva's doctor, but a lifeline for the family, bridging language barriers and cultural divides.
Go, 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 go.
Over the past few months, Yeva has become a testament to the power of determination.
Good.
With hard work and intense therapy,
There you go.
she's regained control of her upper body, her spirit fueled by the hope of someday walking again.
She's still doing some outpatient therapy here at Rankin Jordan, continuing her recovery, getting stronger, getting more independent.
Should we do it again? Yeah? Okay.
Yeva's journey is far from over, but her progress has given her family renewed hope for the future.
It is a remarkable place where they made a lot of connections. They treated us not just medical professionals, but just as a family.
From war-torn Ukraine to a devastating accident in America, the Kapustarinskas have endured the unthinkable.
Hit it. Get it.
Yet here at Rankin Jordan, they found more than just healing. They've rediscovered the strength to write their own next chapter.
I think she's going to do really well, and her family's going to do really well.
The family really needs help and have set up a GoFundMe. You can also find the link in this story on KSDK.com. Now to a live look downtown, where in less than 24 hours, nearly triple-digit heat will hit Cardinals fans over at Busch and people across the bi-state. Meteorologist Gary Frank has more on this week's Weather Impact Alert Day.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, it's been a while since we've said it really felt like July and August, and it's going to feel that way. Earlier today, we did get a break. You could see those clouds as they started to build, and that's what we dealt with the last few days. Look at this deluge, this downpour. You could hardly see anything. We got breaks, and then all of a sudden, this moved through again. And then, of course, as you know, it was 15, 20, 30 minutes. Now, it rained a lot in some spots, don't get me wrong, but it's quieter now, and you're going to get a nice break for at least the next 6 hours. Temps at 78. We got to 90 today, our closest to average day from top to bottom. That's going to change a lot. It's above average the next few days. Here's where that rain moved out, and you can see where most of it is in the Metro East by 9 o'clock and pretty much was out of here. Now we'll focus to the north, and I want to look to the north. It's kind of a different look because we talked about that storm in Iowa. How's it going to impact us? It's tough to see. I want to switch to this visible satellite and infrared because right now it just looks like it's in Iowa. How's it getting here? Watch this big complex of thunderstorms that continues, and watch over the last few hours how it goes from moving pretty much west to east to kind of trying to take a nosedive to the south because of the upper level winds and some of the patterns. That's going to be headed our way and kind of nudge further south. And I think it's going to impact us by maybe not 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, but probably by 4, 5, maybe 6 in the morning. And watch how a lot of this is on the Illinois side, but it still starts to drag a little bit on the Missouri side, and I think we're going to get some rain for the first part of the day. A few loud thunderstorms, a few stronger thunderstorms not out of the question. We'll start out in the mid-70s because of that, but once we clear out, it heats up in a hurry, and we're in the mid-90s, and that's the first day, once we get past 1 o'clock, of the excessive heat warning and heat advisory. In the city, it stays above 80 degrees overnight. That's one of the key components for that excessive heat warning, and, you know, really one of the reasons it's our weather impact alert day. Extreme heat plus very humid conditions is what we're looking at from Monday to Thursday with a heat index between 105 and 110. Now, our heat-related illnesses stem from the fact that it's humid for us. As the humidity continues to go up, our dew points are almost as high as they can be around here, and I think they will get hotter where it feels like tomorrow around 100 degrees, but by Tuesday, this number gets closer to 105 and 110, and it's a steady diet of that as this high settles in. Perhaps we get storms that ride around the ridge of this and give us some relief. I'm not looking for too much relief. So the next 3 to 4 days, weather impact alert days, 96, 97, 100. You see 80 degrees plus overnight, especially in the city. We do get somewhat of a break Thursday and Friday, but man, it is hot. It's the first time we've seen that in a while.
All right, Gary, thanks. A St. Louis wheelchair rugby player could be Team USA's secret weapon in Paris to bring home the gold at next month's Paralympic Games. Annie Krall introduces us to the first woman hoping to steamroll the competition and stereotypes in the male-dominated sports. In tonight, Practice to Podium.
Showing people that we're not fragile, we're out there competing as an elite athlete.
Sarah Adam was in graduate school for occupational therapy when she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis in 2016.
So it kind of flipped my world upside down on what is my future going to look like, how long am I going to be able to practice clinically.
The answer? 5 years, becoming an assistant professor of OT at St. Louis University in 2020.
Obviously with multiple sclerosis, I'm no longer able to practice clinically, but I can find that meaning and that purpose in teaching students.
Now in a SLU gym, practicing her new passion, wheelchair rugby. Eric Newby, co-captain of the national team, introduced her to the sport.
Me and Sarah go way back. Her and my wife went to college together before she was diagnosed with her disability. She was a bridesmaid in our wedding.
Rugby saved Eric's life. The 6'5", 230 weightlifter got into a car accident the night of his high school graduation, breaking his neck. It led him to 2 silver Paralympic medals.
What do you hope your kids understand when they look back at photos and look back at videos of you playing?
I just want them to be proud of me. I want them to be not think of their dad as a guy in a wheelchair, think of their dad as an athlete and a guy that kind of showed what hard work can do.
Now taking on the world with the first U.S. female wheelchair rugby Olympian.
And she kind of proved to the world that she could play with the big boys, and she was fast enough to be there and smart enough to be there.
I just go about my day and allow people to see that.
Both pushing to bring home gold. Annie Krall, 5 on your side.
And the opening ceremony for the Paralympic Games is August 28th.
And when you pay that kind of money for a place like that, you get to watch the baseball games for free. And Paul Goldschmidt walked it off with this solo shot in the 9th inning. The Cardinals salvaged the series finale against the Nationals with a 4-3 victory.
You want others mimicking their careers after this guy from a character standpoint. He is as consistent as they come. He's the same dude every day, regardless of how it's going. You don't know if he's 0 for 4 or 4 for 4.
When I try to do too much and just kind of let it happen, and there's been a lot of times this year, way more often than not, that have not come through in the 9th or extra innings, so was thankful to be able to get the job done today.
Mike, he is our hope. We just got to get hot.
Yeah, and the trade deadline coming up. A look at the events to watch tomorrow in Paris when we come back. Team USA is topping the medal count tonight, winning a dozen Olympic medals as we round out the first weekend. We came out on top in swimming with 7 medals total, 2 of them gold, another gold, silver for fencing, a silver and bronze for cycling, and a silver in diving. Host country France has the second most medals with 8, followed by Japan, Australia, South Korea. They follow close behind with 6 medals each. Now here's what's coming up tomorrow in Paris.
Americans are aiming for more gold on day 3 of the Paris Summer Games. First to the pool, where 5 sets of medals are on the line Monday, including the women's 100-meter breaststroke. Reigning champion Lydia Jacoby failed to qualify for Paris, so 2016 gold medalist Lily King hopes to reclaim the top spot. Plus, in the men's 100-meter backstroke, American Ryan Murphy looks to improve on his bronze medal finish from Tokyo. To the diving competition, it is the men's synchronized 10-meter platform final. And in men's gymnastics, will we see new champions or familiar faces atop the podium for the team final? The U.S. is looking for its first team medal since 2008, but they face some tough opponents with China and Japan favored to win.
And before we go, Gary has a final check of the weather impact forecast.
Yeah, still hot. Hot is the main story for the week. I do think we'll have a few storms in the morning, primarily between about 4 and maybe 8 o'clock, depending on where you are. They should fade, fall apart, and then by 1 o'clock, that's when that goes into effect. An excessive heat warning for obvious reasons, right? 95 to 100 degrees every day. It's 80 overnight. And it feels even hotter than that because we have humidity levels that'll rise significantly, even more humid than it is right now. That's what we've got a steady diet up from Monday to Thursday, and that's our key factor in our weather impact alert days.
And there you have it, 5 on your side at 10. Be sure to kick off your morning with Today in St. Louis. That starts at 4 a.m. And NBC's Olympic coverage continues next with Late Night in Paris. We'll see you again tomorrow.